Today, we're rolling through Southern Pines, North Carolina, and I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea of how, after 3,000 miles, the Honda NX500 has been treating me. So, stick around. Well, hello again, Internet. Welcome back to the channel. I'm in very familiar territory today. This is Southern Pines, North Carolina that we're rolling through, and I spent a lot of time down here working with some high-value dressage and hunter jumper horses. There's definitely some big money around here, but I threw my old ranch saddle on those horses just like I did any other. But we're on a different kind of saddle today and a different kind of horsepower. Today we're on the NX500. We've crossed over the 3,000 mile mark. So how's it been holding up? First off, let me tell you what all we've done on this bike, and I'm going to tell you we have not made any major modifications, just some very minor ones, and most of them, quite frankly, were pretty cheap and just to kind of test them out. Starting up front here, we put on some wind guards. No, they're not bark busters, and I'm not planning on getting out on too many single tracks with this bike. This is really just to keep from getting smacked with bees in the hands for the most part, and through the winter when I'm riding, keeping some of the wind off my hands. We also put a taller windscreen on this. It's about 3 inches taller than stock, and I have the same one in a light smoke. We put on the Honda 12-volt accessory socket, and we put a USB port inside of that. We also have a USB underneath of the seat, and that's a keyed USB like the one up front, and it goes straight into my GPS unit up here. So we have 2 USB ports on the dashboard and 1 left over on the seat. So the electrical needs are more than met with this bike. I also put a radiator guard on it, keep the gravel out of that. And I purchased a skid plate. I haven't put it on just yet. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not real crazy about the design on it. It kind of attaches through the shift lever. I still got to put a little thought as to whether or not, basically just how much of a trade-off that would be, the danger, if it puts me in any danger, or if it's just going to be protection. We've got a rear rack on this, and that's for basically our dry bag. And of course we threw a tank bag on it and a rear seat bag for my daily items to carry around. And I also threw a seat pad on it. The seat's not the best in the world if you're doing over 200 miles a day, or anything significantly over that. But we'll toss a link in the description of all of the parts that we've thrown on this if you're interested in them. So 3,000 miles in, probably less than 200 have been on something that was off of the pavement. So as you can tell, this is pretty much staying on the pavement, which I knew that when I bought it, just because of where we live. That, plus the fact that, quite frankly, I never really could understand why somebody would want to ride a close to a 500-pound motorcycle off-road. If I wanted to go off-road, I want to go hard off-road, and I want to ride it fast, and I want to ride it hard, and it's going to be on an actual dirt bike. I do know how to travel off of the pavement, but yeah, nowadays my need for speed has kind of been replaced by a need not to bleed. That happens to a lot of us as we get, let's just say, more mature. But if I take some gravel roads, it's to get to a destination, not to just go riding off the road. If that's what somebody wants, more power to them. But I think there's a lot more folks out there like me than what YouTube would have you believe. So first off, I will tell you that the bike is holding up beautiful. I did puncture a rear tire, and I just replaced it just because of the circumstance that I happened to be in that particular weekend, but I have had 0 issues with this bike beyond that. So let's talk about the power on the bike. Number one, I'm not riding this bike 2-up, and I'm not carrying enough supplies to live incognito for, 752 days. Basically, most of my traveling is just myself and a small amount of gear. That small amount of gear might be enough just to get me through the day, or it might be enough to get me through 3 or 4 days, and that's going to more than likely be at a hotel, not camping. We might do some camping later on it, but time will tell on that. I've been riding this for the most part between about 4,000 and 5,000 RPMs, and honestly, I find that there's plenty of power to overtake somebody if I need to without gearing down or clutching. Even down to about 3,500 RPMs, you can just roll the throttle on, and you're going to have the power there to go ahead and overtake somebody else. Of course, if you're out, really riding hard, then you might want to go ahead and drop down a gear or two, but and run it higher in the RPMs. But you can cruise this bike in a low RPM all day long, and it's perfectly happy to do that. Now, once we get up and moving, next thing we want to kind of take a look at is how well we can stop. And I have to tell you that 2-disc brakes on the front, the dual disc on that, it is a true powerhouse for stopping. I barely touch my rear brakes when I'm out on the road. That front brake is just so easy to use and does such a good job. Shifting through on this bike, when I first got it, I was a little bit concerned about how well it shifted, or how clunky it shifted, I should say. Second and third especially, they were pretty chunky, and even to this day it doesn't shift as well as a single cylinder, but that's pretty much to be expected. But after about the 600-mile oil change, I guess around maybe 700 or 800 miles, it started to really smooth out the shifting, and we have zero problems with it at this point. With this taller windscreen on here, I get zero buffeting up and around my helmet. I'm about 5'9", I guess. Even at highway speeds, 70 miles an hour, there's no buffeting. I will get a little bit of noise created by the turbulence above me, but even that's not really too bad. And it's a whole lot better than the stock windscreen anytime you get above about 60 miles per hour. Suspension wise, honestly, I'm good with the suspension just the way it is. There's times when I think, it could even go, I'd like to go and adjust it up a little bit softer. I'd like to have the ability to do that. But, anytime you take it off of the pavement, or especially if I were to take it off road, you certainly don't need it to be any softer than what it is right here. So I'm good with it just the way it is. Next up, I guess I would talk about the seating position, and honestly, I'd like to see a seat, just a taller seat. As it is, it does have you a bit cramped between the height of the seat and the foot pegs. I understand this would raise the center of gravity, which would not be good for it on the road, but there you go. It's a trade-off. I might end up seeing Seat Concepts and see about getting a little taller saddle for it, but that's still kind of up to some debate, being as, like I said, most of my time is spent on the roads. Could we raise up the performance with this? Yeah, we absolutely could. We could put on a complete new exhaust system, a new air intake. Of course, tubeless spoke wheels would be a huge upgrade on this, and fully adjustable suspension would be real nice to have. But I'm going to be straight up with you. I don't see anything at this point that would lead me to believe that I should do any of this exactly. Quite frankly, I'm pretty thrilled with it just the way it is for what I'm using it for. So there you go. That's my 3,000 mile review on how the Honda is treating me. And I'll tell you, I'm in the class of adventure rider that is more of an explorer than somebody trying to go out there and run hard off-road or anything like that. I've already been there, done that with that. And I think that class of adventure riders is a lot bigger than, what a lot of people would have you believe, and especially the marketing folks. But we're going to be doing a video on that. But I think that's going to wrap it up for our little review of the Honda NX500. And if you like this and you want to see some of the other stuff that we're doing on this and on the e-bikes and on everything that we're doing, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I believe that's going to wrap it up for this one. So till the next one, Southern Cycling and Beyond telling you, stay safe, God bless, and keep the wheels rolling. Once again, we're out.